What's up, guys? We are back with another AK video today, except today we have two AKs, which is always better than one. So the guns I brought out are the 16-inch barrel, full-length AK rifle that you guys have seen 100 times on the channel, just one of my favorite guns that I've ever owned, and the recently acquired and very awesome IWI Galil Ace 7.62x39 pistol. Now, I uploaded a video on this bad boy about a week ago, and it literally amazed me just how awesome this gun was to shoot and just what a little beast it is. So if you haven't seen that video, I will try to link it at the top of the screen here, and it's definitely worth checking out. But after that, I wanted to come out and bring this little pistol back out and compare it to a full-length AK rifle and just see if we can find out which one's better or which one we might prefer. So we're gonna shoot each of these guns, talk about them, and maybe do a few tests with them as well and see if we can get an answer to that question. So let's do it. So I apologize if there's a little glare on the lens. I'm facing the only safe way that I can shoot, and the sun is coming up right into my camera. So sorry about that. But first we have the full-length AK rifle that you guys have come to know so well on the channel. And let's take a couple shots with it first. .762x39 almost knocks my steel gong over every time I shoot it, and I always forget to like brace it down, but I have a feeling it's gonna knock it over again today. All right, so with the full-length AK, you obviously have a couple advantages. Number one would be the fixed buttstock, which you obviously don't get on a pistol. Although I will say, a lot of those braces these days are kind of, you know, becoming pretty good, and you're not sacrificing a whole lot. Maybe some strength. Obviously with a buttstock like this, you could really, you know, crack something if you needed to, whereas with those braces, they're kind of, you know, rubbery and definitely not as sturdy. Another advantage I could see is the recoil of the full-length rifle is probably a little bit less than the pistol. We'll talk about that as well when we shoot the pistol. But these rifles probably do dampen a little bit of the recoil. And then obviously the biggest advantage to having a full-length barrel like this is the velocity that you get, and probably because of that, the bullet performance that you get. So I've never really got to test this until now, and I'm kind of curious to see how much of a difference does the 16-inch barrel over the 8.3-inch barrel that's on that pistol really make. Obviously 16 inches will give you more velocity and better bullet performance. That's just a fact. But how much of a difference? I don't really know. Let's finish off this magazine. Almost knocked it over. Some cinder block dust. All right, so in case you missed my last video, the Galil was actually sent to me by Turtle Lake Tactical, who has been helping me out for quite a while now. So I want to thank them. You can visit their website, turtlelaketactical.com, and use our coupon code ONESHOT for 10% off of everything in the store. Believe it or not, this exact gun will actually be up for sale on the website. So 10% off of something like this is actually a really good deal. So check them out if you're interested. I also want to thank Davidson's, who is a supplier that he uses, and they've kind of helped to make this whole thing possible as well. So thank you to those guys. Without them, I wouldn't be able to make videos like this. And go pay them a visit and help me thank them and let them know that we appreciate it. But let's take a couple shots with this thing. Man, that never gets old. It's almost like a machine gun smile when you shoot this thing. I don't know what it is, but it just makes me grin from ear to ear every time I fire it. I guess it's just all the power that you feel in your hands when you shoot this little thing. It's definitely a unique experience, I'll say that. But with a pistol, obviously there's a couple things that you do sacrifice, coming from a rifle. There's a lot that you gain as well. But number one would be the pistol brace is obviously not as sturdy or as solid as like a fixed stock. For me, this one works out really well because it just comes straight up to my cheek It's the perfect length of pole. There's really nothing wrong with this pistol brace for me. I don't mind it at all. And they even have adjustable ones now. A lot of these SB braces are pretty good, basically stocks that you can use, and they work just as well. The number one main concern when going to a pistol like this is obviously the length of the barrel. So when you cut your barrel in half, basically, I believe this is an 8.3-inch barrel, so basically half of what you're gonna get out of the rifle. You obviously are gonna lose a lot of velocity and maybe bullet performance because of that. So we'll probably test that out here in a little bit, but the 7.62x39 is a really powerful round, and just based off how these rounds are hitting targets downrange, it still sounds like it's plenty powerful to me. I don't know, I guess we'll see, but you definitely are gonna lose velocity. You also might have a little more blast and a little more recoil. To me, the recoil on this actually feels better than my rifle. I mentioned this in the last video, but it might be because the piston is so much shorter. It doesn't have that clunky AK recoil impulse that we all know. But yeah, the recoil on this thing's not bad at all. The blast it's loud, and it puts out a giant fireball, which we also talked about in the last video. But I don't mind the fireball. I think it's actually pretty cool. So that could be a pro or a con, depending on how you look at it. Personally, I don't mind it at all. But I will say, out of this short little barrel, it does feel like almost like a different caliber when you're shooting this compared to a full-length AK. It is insane. Actually, I had a couple people in the comments mention something about the pistol brace, that they wanted to see me put this around my forearm, which is how it's designed to be used, and fire the gun that way. So I'm gonna go ahead and do this for you guys on camera. I did it off camera, and there's a reason I didn't do it for the video. So I don't love it. I did try this when I was filming the last video, and I didn't actually put it in the video because I don't think it's a great way to shoot these guns. I guess it is kind of cool that you're like a weaponized robot and attached to this thing, but that's also what I don't love about it. I don't like that I can't, you know, switch hands or put it down or just move it around the way I want to. And I think that, you know, you can use these braces in a much better way than strapping it to your arm. But I guess for you guys, I'll try and take a couple shots with it. There's also a couple different ways you could do it. Like, you can do it one-handed, which is obviously awkward because it's kind of front heavy and you're holding it up with one hand, or you can do it with a support hand, and then you run into trying to find your optic or your sights and stuff like that, and it's just awkward all the way around. So I'll try it a couple different ways here. Try it one-handed. I'm gonna hit the cinder blocks one-handed. So, for those of you that wanted to see me do that, there you go. Some people might really like shooting them that way. Personally, I just don't. I just think that shouldering it, or even folding the brace, which you can do, and shooting the gun, you know, like a pistol that way, is even better than using that brace. It's just awkward to me. But I know there's probably a lot of people out there that do like shooting them that way. So, there you go. So like we talked about, because of the 16-inch barrel, you would assume that one of the main advantages of the full-length rifle would be bullet velocity and bullet performance. So we're gonna put that to the test and do a little ballistics gel test. And the gel blocks we're gonna use for this are my clear 20% ballistics gel blocks. We have a new one in the front and an older one behind it, and hopefully we'll be able to capture all these bullets and kind of see for ourselves what is the difference and how much does it really affect the performance of the bullet when you basically cut the barrel in half. So at some point I'll probably do another video testing some more premium ammo out of these guns, but today I just want to start with what I would assume most people probably stockpile for the 7.62x39 and, you know, some of the cheaper Russian steel case stuff. So first we're going to start with the Wolf 123 grain mil-spec full metal jacket, and we're gonna start with the rifle and see how it does. So this is why I don't like using brand new ballistics gel when I test rifles and shotguns, because this stuff just obliterates your ballistics gel blocks. But here is where the 123 grain Wolf went in from our rifle, and you can see the size of that wound cavity and just how nasty that thing is and all the damage that it did inside that ballistics gel. Just insanely impressive. And then the bullet did leave our first gel block, went into our second gel block, probably 3 or 4 inches, and you can see that it stopped right there, turned backwards, so it obviously tumbled a little bit in the ballistics gel, but man, that is a nasty result for sure. And out of our rifle, the 123 grain Wolf stopped at about 20 inches into our ballistics gel. So I was gonna do a couple tests out of the rifle and then switch over to the pistol and test the exact same rounds, but after seeing that result, I think I'm gonna alternate so that I make sure I have enough room inside the ballistics gel. So next, we're gonna test the same round out of the little IWI Galil pistol and see how it compares. Now I don't really know where to hold up close like this with the EOTech on here. It looks like it's pretty high off the barrel, so I'm gonna try and get this hold right. So I apologize for the wind out here. I don't know how much is coming through on the microphone, but it is super windy. So I'm gonna try and yell loud enough for y'all to hear me. But the one from our pistol is on bottom, obviously, and you can see it took probably 3 or 4 more inches into the gel block before it really started showing the damage, whereas the rifle just immediately basically tore that gel block up. But the pistol still gave us a really impressive wound cavity, and you can see all the way down to the end of the first gel block, that's still a really big wound cavity in that gel block. And then the bullet left our first gel block, and I don't know how well you guys can see that, but in the second gel block, it kind of started curving up past our rifle bullet and then came to a stop right there. So it about came out of the top of the gel block, and you can see where the rifle bullet stopped back there, and then here is where our pistol bullet stopped. So that's about what I expected, because even with less velocity, you usually do get more penetration because it doesn't hit as hard and dump as much energy as it does out of that full-length rifle. But that's still a really impressive result out of that little pistol. And out of the pistol, the 123 grain Wolf got about 24.5 inches. All right, so I'm gonna try to squeeze one more round out of each of these guns into that gel block and just pray that I don't hit another bullet in there, because that seems to be what usually happens to me. But next we have the 124 grain boat tail hollow point Red Army Standard. And this is another one that I see everywhere and you can usually find for really cheap. So a lot of people tend to have it laying around. Let's see how it does out of our rifle. All right, so unfortunately I wasn't able to keep this one in the ballistics gel, but I think we still have enough data here to give us a result that we can use. So here is where our Red Army Standard hollow point went in. It's the one on top, and you can see that it kind of covered up that first full metal jacket wound. It's definitely humongous, not quite as nasty as the full metal jacket. You can see how discolored that one is, but the hollow point did do a lot of damage and definitely bigger than our first pistol shot. And then the bullet continued down the gel block, and I don't see any bullet fragments, which is kind of surprising. Usually these hollow points break apart a little bit, but this one didn't. It curved up towards the end of the gel block, still has a humongous wound cavity, and then exited the top pretty much right there at the corner of the end of that first ballistics gel block. So like I said, we didn't capture the bullet, but I think we still have enough here to shoot our pistol and then compare the damage inside the ballistics gel. All right, let's try the same Red Army Standard hollow point out of the Galil pistol and see if we can keep this one in the ballistics gel. I saw a big old flash in there. All right, so I went ahead and shot that one twice because the first one I put too high in the gel block and it left our gel pretty early. So the second one, I think we did pretty well on. So you can see it is right there on the bottom and it's perfectly underneath the shot that we took out of the rifle. So this is about as good as I could ask for, because they're right on top of each other for us to compare. So you can see the pistol shot on the bottom. The wound cavity started opening up at about the exact same spot as it did out of the rifle, and it even looks basically identical in there. I mean, the rifle might have a slightly bigger wound cavity, but nothing that you really even notice. They're both pretty much about the same. Both really impressive. And our pistol bullet left our first gel block, went into our second gel block, and you can see it's kind of curving up just like the rifle did. But this one we were able to capture, and it stopped right there in between our first rifle and our first pistol bullet. So obviously you can see that it didn't expand in the ballistics gel, but it's kind of hard to tell if our rifle bullet expanded either, because I don't see any bullet fragments in the ballistics gel, and obviously we weren't able to capture that bullet, but the wound cavities look exactly the same and the damage looks exactly the same. So either way, really impressive from both the rifle and the pistol. And just so you guys can see, the Red Army Standard hollow point stopped at about 22.5 inches into our ballistics gel. All right guys, before we wrap this up, I have a couple pineapples and coconuts down there, and I've got some 7.62 hollow points in the little Galil, and I want to see what it does to our fruit. I will say, I know this isn't an AK pistol, but having the, the rail on top of the Galil to put a red dot like this is a humongous advantage to having something like a Galil over an AK. Oh yeah, that last coconut was what I was looking for. Well, that is going to do it for me today, guys. Thank you all for watching. I hope that you enjoyed today's video. I want to thank Turtle Lake Tactical one more time for sending out this little IWI Galil. I have had an absolute blast with this thing, and it is just, I don't know what it is about it, but I'm in love with this gun. Also, thank you to Davidson's for helping make all this possible too. If it wasn't for people like them, I just wouldn't be able to make some of these videos. So I really appreciate that. I know I'm gonna have to give you guys an answer to the question that we asked in the beginning of the video, or else I'll get accused of copping out. Overall, I would say if I had to pick one, I would pick the Galil. I know it's not a surprise to most of you. I could be biased, I don't know. I just love this gun. There's something about the way it shoots, the way it feels, the way it sounds, the way it looks. Obviously, it just looks awesome. And it shoots awesome. It's just a different recoil, a different feel, but overall, I just love it, and it just fits me really well. So the rifles, AK rifles, are obviously some of my favorites as well, and I wouldn't mind using either one of them. But after seeing the ballistics gel results, it kind of proved what I thought it would, that the 7.62x39, no matter what it's getting shot out of, is an absolute beast, and I would not feel undergunned with a shorter barrel like we have on the Galil. Obviously, you are going to get better ballistics out of the full-length rifle. That's definitely not a secret, but I still think it's plenty effective out of the short little barrel on these pistols. Now, obviously, this isn't an AK pistol. It is a Galil, but you're going to get the same results, same caliber and stuff like that with an AK pistol. So let me know in the comments what your guys' opinion is on this. I'd be interested to hear from you, and kind of curious as well, because I feel like I might be a little biased towards this gun. If I could afford this thing, I would buy it right now. I really would. I'm in love with this thing. It's got to be just one of the coolest guns I've ever shot. But I hope that you guys enjoyed the video. Again, guys, if you did, please let me know in the comment section below. Don't forget to visit turtlelaketactical.com and use our coupon code to help thank them for helping me, because I really do appreciate it. And I really appreciate all of you guys for all your support, all your comments, all your likes and stuff like that. It really does mean a lot to me, guys. So thank you so much for watching. If you liked the video, let me know. Let me know what else you'd like to see with the little Galil before I have to send it back, which is gonna be a sad day for me, but I've had a blast with this thing over these last couple of weeks. So thank you all for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, smash like for me. I would really appreciate it, and I'll see you guys next time.